Welcome to the Waves of Joy podcast. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. I'm a mindset empowerment coach and an energy healer. This podcast is about finding joy. It will also be about inspiring people who have built joy-filled lives. You'll hear more about how to find joy through the day, the weeks, the months, and years of your life, and learn about how to spread joy. You'll also hear powerful stories that don't sound joyful at the beginning, but where joy was found. I started this podcast because I wanted to normalize finding joy in the ups and downs of daily life. I hope you feel inspired and entertained. Pop in your earbuds, take me with you on your commute, or both. Let's do this. Find waves of joy. Would you like to feel better and release limiting beliefs? Of course you would. I created a free meditation for you that's downloadable. As soon as you click submit, I'll email you with a downloadable version of this free meditation. Go to brendawinkle.com/feel better. Hello and welcome back to Waves of Joy podcast. In today's mini episode, I am sharing the audio from an Instagram live that I did earlier today. It's Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. And I was inspired to talk about the topic for today based on some experiences that I'll share as you listen to this episode. But the core of this episode is around friendship and how important it is and how much it changes. And I won't spoil anything or talk about things that have already been talked about in the podcast, but just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what to expect today. And when I think about what I most want, I want connection. I want to share experiences with you. And I'm so grateful that you're here on the Waves of Joy podcast with me. And I just value and appreciate you so much. Thank you for listening to the Waves of Joy podcast. It has been so rewarding and so fulfilling. I had a dream on my heart to have this podcast for several years. And when I launched it on August 12th, it just felt so resonant and so right that I never looked back. In fact, I hardly ever blog anymore. But I resolved to throw a couple blogs in just because I like to. We have over 2,000 downloads. And in the first, few months of the life of the podcast, that feels really significant. I know that it's just a tiny, tiny bit compared to a lot of bigger podcasts. But for the Waves of Joy podcast to have been a brand new baby in April of 2022 and to come into November with over 2,000 downloads, it puts us in the top 50% of all podcasts. So thank you so much for listening. And if you haven't yet given the podcast a rating or a review, I just have a request. Could you please go to wherever you're listening to this podcast right now and leave a rating and a review? And the reason is this: the more ratings and reviews a podcast has, the more likely it is to show up in the feed of someone who really needs it. And we are talking about friendship in this episode. And let's face it, I think we all yearn for friends and crave and cherish and celebrate our friendships. And I just am so grateful to be on this journey with you, my friend, and am so excited to be getting ready to share a cup of coffee with you in this episode. And if you are also craving connection and face-to-face relationships and friendships, I want to invite you to something really special. I'm hosting an Oregon Coast Reiki 1 retreat in Rockaway Beach, Oregon, November 15, 16, and 17 of 2022. And you can go to brendawinkle.com/retreat for all of the information and to save your spot. Registration is going to close on November 10th because I need time to order your Reiki manual. And so I want to make sure I have that ready for you. And it's going to be 3 days filled with just connection and magic and friendship and energy work and answering all the questions that you have around your intuition and the energy around you, how to learn to protect your energy and amplify your energy, and really promote your body's natural healing in addition to offering healing to others. But one of the things about Reiki that is so, so special is that because it's a universal love energy, the person who's giving the Reiki also receives. It's just like the infinity loop. And one of the most impactful things that has happened in my life is I have a daily Reiki practice. Every single day I wake up, I give myself Reiki. Every single night I get ready to go to sleep and I give myself Reiki. And it really makes a difference in how grounded I feel and in the overall physical health of my body and in how connected I am to my source, my spirituality. And I just invite you to give it a try. And if you're curious about it and you want to talk, I'll also put a link in the show notes for a discovery call, a no obligation free discovery call where we can chat. You can ask me questions about Reiki and about the retreat. So I hope that you enjoy this episode, and I'm so grateful you're along on the Waves of Joy podcast. Here we go. Well, hello. I'm late to my own party today, but not late by very much. I was looking for something. I wanted to tell you a little story, and I want you just to imagine that we are having coffee together and that we're just two friends having coffee and chatting. And I love the Trader Joe's dark coffee. I'm trying to think. I think it's Costa Rica, or maybe it's the 5 blend espresso. But either way, I love it. And then, the Trader Joe's coconut creamer is my favorite. So I want you just to imagine that we're having a cup of coffee together. And I want to tell you a little story. So 2 weeks ago, I was in Los Angeles and I was with my friends, Erin and Megan, and with a lot of other friends from my mastermind, and just felt very wrapped and nurtured in my community. And then last week, I went to Madison, Wisconsin, and I spent time with my family. And my sister has lived in Wisconsin for 10 years. My parents have lived there for just over a year. And because my sister is well established there, I also know all of her friends. And so I spent some time with her and the friends and the community, and just felt enveloped by the community. And it was so beautiful and wonderful. And if you don't know, my 21-year-old moved out of the house, and then I sold my house, moved into an apartment, and this has all happened in the last month. So all this is to say, when I got ready to get on the airplane to come back to Portland, I was really overcome with emotion, and sat in the airport and cried a little bit. And I just felt like all the changes, all the transitions were really just making me feel all the things. And it reminded me how valuable our friends are. And it made me think about how much I cherish all of my friends, including Sarah. I love seeing you here. And Sarah, you are actually part of the thing that I wanted to talk about today, a really important part. So the book that I wrote in 2020 is called Empower Her. And I didn't really do much for promoting it. I think there were a few people that have read it, but not very many. And so anyway, I came home from this time in Los Angeles with my friends, and then time with my family. And I was coming home to an empty apartment. There's no human there. There's no dog there. It's literally just me. And that's new. That's really new, because I have always had a pet since 2007. And Jane is now living most of the time with Maya. And then she comes to me during the days that Maya works. So I still get to spend time with her and love on her and those kind of things. But that night that I was coming back from Wisconsin, it was to an empty apartment. And I was just thinking about my friendships, and had a conversation with a close friend of mine on Monday morning, and just said exactly what I had felt in the airport. in Madison, and she recommended Mel Robbins' podcast on friendship, which I think it posted on Sunday this week. And so I listened to it yesterday, and it's so good. Go listen if you haven't given Mel Robbins' podcast a listen. And it reminded me of this piece that I had written inside my book, Empower Her. So Empower Her is part memoir, and it's part map to recovering from domestic abuse. In fact, that's the subtitle. You can tell I've sometimes set things on this book a little shiny in places. But one of the things that I was talking about is friendship and the seasons of friendship. And one of the things that Mel said in her podcast was that friends are here either for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that's also what I had written in this book, because it's not an original saying, right? We all heard that before. But I wanted to talk to you about it today and then see if anything comes up for you. So feel free to ask questions, and if you want, you can even come on live with me and we can talk about it. So I say in this book, friends fall into one of three categories for most of us: a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And I've had some beautiful friends in my life. I hold a genuine fondness for everyone that I've had as my friend, and I'm not as close to some of them, and some I rarely see, if ever, or we don't share experiences anymore. And others I can go weeks or months without seeing and pick up exactly where we left off. I'm lucky enough to see my closest friends regularly because of our shared interests. I'm betting that as you read, you are naming friends in your life that fit these categories. One of the biggest questions we have is why some friends who we love dearly seem to stick with us for our whole lives and others seem to drift away. It can be an incredibly joyful or painful experience to see a friendship change. And these changing friendships have a lot in common with the seasons. In the spring of a friendship, there's excitement and vibrant color. Colors everywhere as we begin to explore the values and interests that we hold in common. And some friendships end in the spring with just a splash of color, and then, like a hyacinth, they wither and die back until, in a short time, the beautiful friendship is much like the blooming flower, a memory. Other friendships continue into the summer. In the summer of friendship, the richness of the green surrounds us. It's constant, dependable, and everywhere. The lush green lawns of a summer friendship, receiving careful fertilization and hydration, respond to the nurturing that they receive. These friendships grow more profound and more beautiful over time, just as the green in summer expands to include the trees, bushes, and plants. There's gorgeous color included in the lush landscape as well. And many lifelong friendships stay in the summer for their duration. The shades may change, but the lushness and richness remain. Other friendships continue into the fall. And in the fall of a friendship, there's a cooling. A thinning scene replaces the lush, vibrant green landscape, but it retains its rich color. The colors are beautiful and vibrant, but we also know they're fleeting. The right wind will knock the lovely leaves to the ground, and they, like the friendship, become a memory. There's a grief that we feel as we watch the leaves fall and the friendships change. And the leaves still have beauty as they lay quietly on the ground, and yet we know that we can't attach the fallen leaf back to the tree. A separation forever changes it. As we view the fallen leaves on the green grass, we remember with nostalgia what it was like when the tree showcased bright green leaves. And the same is true for the friendship finding itself in the fall. We remember what the friendship was like when it nourished us and was nourished by us in the summer, before seeing the changing color, and knew with certainty that it would all change one day. Some friendships remain in this place, not as close as they once were, but still beautiful. Others continue into winter. The winter season of friendship still holds a unique beauty. The sparkling white landscape is breathtakingly beautiful, just like the memory of the bond. We also know that great care has to be taken in this environment to not put ourselves in real danger of getting frostbite, freezing to death, or being wounded or scarred by the winter of friendship. Special care has to be taken in the winter of friendship to make sure that we don't hurt the brittle branches remaining and that we're not harmed by the cold. We protect ourselves with the warmth the memories hold and warm ourselves with the newly sprouted friendships. Sometimes a winter friendship will see another spring and be rekindled, and other times there's not a way to recover or rewarm the friendship. We experience the death or change of friendship as a real loss. And we're sometimes left wondering why the friendship didn't last or wondering what happened. And other times we do know what happened, or perhaps we even chose to leave. Regardless of the reason the friendship ends, we experience the death of friendship as an actual death. And the empty spot remains when we lose a friend. And hopefully we fill the open place with new friends, enrich current friendships, or find new hobbies. We heal, hopefully. And hopefully we come out of the friendship with a love for the person, a love for the experience, even if it was hard, and grateful to have learned the lessons that we learned. It's essential to take the time to understand why the friendship changes. And that I went looking for this today because after listening to Mel Robbins' podcast on friendship that dropped on Sunday and feeling my own experience of coming home to an empty house as an empty nester, like a really empty nester with not even a dog at home when I got back Sunday night, it made me think about my life and my friendships. And I'm so grateful to have a beautiful community. I have a beautiful community through my mastermind group. I have a beautiful community in Pause Breathwork. I have beautiful community in Boise and in Kansas City and from Sturgis and from all the places that I've lived. And it made me really think about how much gratitude I have for those people in my life. And it also made me really aware of how much I crave that friendship here in Portland. And so yesterday I went to see my friend Mary and hugged her 3 times in 5 minutes. And it was so beautiful to see her. And so today in this Hey Brenda Live, I just wanted to talk about friendship. And, you know, when we think about friends, I just loved Mel Robbins' podcast about this because she was talking about the amount of time it takes to establish a friendship at different phases in our life. And I'm not going to quote the statistics because I don't remember them. But suffice to say that in adulthood, it takes exponentially longer to create friendships because it takes so many more hours of shared experiences. And so giving ourselves time and grace to keep going out there and keep looking to form friendships is worth it. And so today I want you just to remember that I am your friend and that I'm just here having a cup of coffee with you and sending you all the love. And I'd love to hear what comes up for you when we talk about friendship. Where is it easy for you? Where does it get hard? And I'm just curious. I'd love to hear from you. Oh, I just about knocked over my my tripod there when I set down the book. So you can say something in the comments if you choose. You can even request to come on live with me. I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. I slurped it. We're friends now, right? So, so you can listen to me slurp my coffee. And I also met with another friend this week. Her name is Michelle Bender. She is absolutely incredible. And she was telling me she's a writer and she's a ghostwriter and she helps people write their books. And so we were talking about this book, my book, Empower Her, which I self-published through Amazon in November of 2020. And she was saying, do people know that you wrote this book? And I said, some do, but many do not. So I'm here just to share that this book is out there. And this picture was taken in my front yard in Boise. I had this flower bush that I planted there. I really, really loved it. I got it like on a clearance sale. There's this little store that was close to my house, and they would really deeply discount the plants at the end of the season. And so I got this rose bush. It was really sick at the end of one season. And then by the time I sold my house in Boise, it was this beautiful, fully flourishing mini rose bush. So it only stood like 4 feet tall, but it was just thick with roses. And one fall, unexpectedly, it snowed. And so I took this picture, not realizing at the time that I was going to use it on the cover of the book. But I took that picture because to me, it was so significant to see that the rose still retained the color and its beauty even beneath the snow. And so I want you to take that as a metaphor for today. And no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're experiencing, you still retain all that beauty, all that rich color, no matter what's coming up in your life. And I have so much love for you, and I can't wait to connect with you again another time. So if you are just joining us, we've been talking about friendship. Thanks for having coffee with me, Sarah. I miss you. I can't wait to catch up. Maybe we could catch up on a phone call or a Zoom call sometime. So love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.